मैं एसी की हवा खाने रोज एटीएम जाता था, वो पगली करोड़पति समझ के सेट हो गई। वैसा हाल आपकी है।
Hello guys and welcome to MotorBeam. Because of the lockdown, yes, we had to take a break for a week, but now we are back and today we have got the old school motorcycle, the Royal Enfield Thunderbird against the Meteor. And in today's video, we are not going to be reviewing it. We are going to be finding out the key differences on how Royal Enfield has evolved from that to this. But before we begin, subscribe to MotorBeam and don't forget to hit the bell icon. First things first, don't focus on the luggage box over there because that is an official accessory from the owner of this motorcycle. But this motorcycle, if you consider the silhouette of both the motorcycles, well, you will see a similar structure over here, and that is what the idea is. But the name is Meteor only because Royal Enfield wants to sell this motorcycle in the international market and they cannot use the word Thunderbird because of some reasons. Hence the name Meteor. Let's start with the styling, and the first thing that you notice is that over here you get a halogen setup headlight, but in the older version of the Thunderbird you used to get a projector headlight. I actually like the projector setup because it looked a little bit hot. Over here it has gone down a little back in time. But now you get an LED DRL which covers the whole headlight, but on the Thunderbird it was a smaller unit. As I go a little bit behind, I can see that the tank design on the Meteor is similar to that of the Thunderbird, but it is like a proper teardrop. It does not have that sloping roof as such because the tank has gone down by 5 liters from 20 to 15. The seat design on the Thunderbird as well as the Meteor is similar, but the Meteor has comparatively smaller seats and that accommodates a rider properly. Over here, if you were thick, if you were healthy, you would have been more comfortable. Now this Meteor over here gets a backrest as standard, but that is an accessory. Over here it was the same case for the Royal Enfield Thunderbird, but the backrest on the Thunderbird was a little bit smaller. Now I have come a little bit too behind and I can see one thing, that the dimensions of the Royal Enfield compared to the Meteor are a lot different. The Royal Enfield Thunderbird is a little bit taller while the Meteor is a little bit longer. And same is the case for the wheelbase too, because the Meteor's wheelbase is slightly longer as that compared to the Royal Enfield Thunderbird. Now as I look at the lower half, there's one thing that's pretty clear, that you get machine cut alloys on the Meteor and you get spoke wheels on the Thunderbird. Well, you used to get alloys from the Thunderbird 500 and the 350X versions of it, so that is the conclusion that the Meteor is a combination of the Thunderbird normal one as well as the X variants. And now as we are talking about the X variant, there is a Fireball version of the Meteor where you get bright colors same as the X variants. Looking at the rear styling, well, things are pretty much inspired from the competition because you get a separate unit for the tail light as compared to the joint unit on the Thunderbird. And same is the case for indicators. You don't get clearance indicators even now. Now if I get into detail, I'll sit down and I can see there's one thing, that we've got twin down tube pipes over here as compared to a single down tube chassis over here. So overall, this motorcycle is completely new. The idea is although the same as a Thunderbird, but this one is a completely new motorcycle. As I'm here, I can see that the engine head of the Meteor has become a little bit smaller as compared to that of the Thunderbird, and that is because that the push rods have gone away and now you've got an SOHC. This makes the engine quite a lot compact and easy to mount. Now ergonomics are very crucial, and as we compare the Meteor from the Thunderbird, let's sit on the Thunderbird first. The riding posture, the seating posture is very upright. I've got front set foot pegs and the ergonomic triangle is very comfortable. Although there's one thing that's a bit of a problem, it's the handlebar structure. I am sitting like this, the ape handlebars are good, but the angle is just too weird. If I turn the handlebar right or left, well, you can see that the moment is just too weird. Let's quickly sit on the Meteor. Before sitting on the Meteor, there's one thing I have to say, that the seat height is comparatively lower as compared to that of the Royal Enfield Thunderbird. And over here, that's the reason I waited quite a lot long, that I've got the completely loaded version of the Meteor. This one gets the low seat height as well as it has got the auxiliary foot pegs too. Let's sit. And this place is even more comfortable. The handlebars are not those apes which make you uncomfortable. These are straight handlebars, slightly upright, and then you've got these auxiliary foot pegs over here. The riding posture, the riding triangle, the ergonomic triangle is similar to that of the Thunderbird. This makes it very comfortable. And as Royal Enfield has said, this one is a cruiser. I can say Yes, it is. The instrument cluster of the Thunderbird had got dual pods probably for the first time in a Royal Enfield, and that is what I liked a lot because it had got a tachometer too. On the left we get an analog speedometer and there's a digital unit, but there are a few buttons. I'll go through that first. Over here I did not know that we also got a hazard light switch which is there on the Meteor, but over here back in time, pretty nice, right? In the digital section you get an odometer, twin trip meters which average speed, and the fuel gauge too, and that's about it. Although the information is very basic, the meter looked very nice back in time. Even now it does not look too outdated because the Interceptor and the Continental GT get similar kind of clusters. Now as soon as I look at the console of the Meteor, I can see that we've got dual pods, but on the right side you've lost the tachometer. कुछ देते हैं तो कुछ ले लेते हैं. They give you something while they take away something, and that is what Royal Enfield has been doing. Similar case for the projector too. Well, here you've got a Trippy. This one is a small unit that connects via Bluetooth to your phone from the Royal Enfield app, and it will give you navigation directions, and that makes it very easy, comfortable for cruising duties too. So if you put a route to any particular location and you save it offline, even if you are in no network zone, you will keep getting that notification that you have got a turn ahead. On the left side, you still get an analog speedometer. The digital section has been updated in a very good manner. The fuel gauge comes in a circular pattern, while you get an eco indicator too, gear position indicator as well, with time, with odometer and twin trip meters. And you don't get any buttons over here. I've been confused so many times that I've been giving pass lights, but over here you get an I button switch, and that is what changes the information on the meter. Now as we talk about the switch gear, that one on the Royal Enfield Thunderbird is very basic, but over here things have been updated in a different manner too. You get the circular patterns for the starter button, for the pass light switch, and that makes it look very interesting. I did not know there was another way to put an integrated kill switch with a starter button too. This one is really very nice. Now as we are looking into details, the master cylinder has been designed in a different manner too. This tells us that Royal Enfield has been very focused on this motorcycle for the last 8 months. The Meteor has got circular mirrors, while these are accessory mirrors. If you get a standard variant, you'll get chrome finish, and that will be the only difference. These accessory mirrors are similar to that of the Continental GT650 or even the Interceptor, and these mirrors are very common, although they don't give a good view of what's behind as compared to that of the Thunderbird 350, because the mirrors on the Thunderbird were just way too wide and they give a good view. This one, they don't. Now things have improved quite nice. You get a hinge, but there's a problem. Quality issues can be seen some places, and over here the lid does not have that great quality, but the fuel lid is very nice. It shuts and opens very nicely, but the cover over here, down. So this one is the Supernova variant of the Meteor 350, which is the top of line offering from Royal Enfield, and it has got a few standard accessories. Number 1 being the visor, and number 2 being this backrest. The visor quality is not that good for my liking, but this motorcycle has got a ton of extra accessories too, starting with the seat. This is the low ride seat, which brings down the seat height to almost 745 mm, while you've got the rider foot pegs, which are from the accessory kit, an engine crash guard, which is also from the accessory, and you've got an accessory exhaust as well. You can choose up to 7 different exhausts from the accessory, which are actually road legal. Royal Enfields were known for their thumb, and the Thunderbird was no different. It already had the thumb, but has it been the similar case for the Meteor? Let's find out with a typical exhaust note. You still get that duk-duk feeling over here on a Thunderbird. But there are a lot of things that are vibrating over here. On the Meteor, things are a little bit different. That duk thump is missing, but this motorcycle still has that durr feel. You get that? Now in the performance departments, things have changed drastically, because one thing for sure, that you get FIA standard for the BS6 variant, but push rods have gone away. The engine has become larger by 3 cubic capacity, while the power has gone up by 0.4 bhp. Although there's a drop in torque by 1 Newton meters, but the overall power difference, the throttle response has increased so much that this motorcycle takes off the line slowly and reaches a certain speed and stays comfortable up to 80 kilometers per hour. But the Meteor just shoots, and you can actually stay comfortable at 100 kilometers per hour, although there will be some vibes, unlike that of the Thunderbird, which vibrates all over the place. The mileage has also increased because you get a larger torque band to play around, while this motorcycle is easy to ride in the city with higher gear, lower RPM, again because of a wider torque band. The low end of the engine is actually much better on the Thunderbird because the older engine had that immediate torque. This one opens the torque slightly later, but it is a lot more enjoyable. Although the mid-range and top end of the Meteor are just enjoyable to the core. Royal Enfield had launched the Thunderbird with an idea of traveling the distance on a cruiser, but it did not work out just as well. But I am pretty sure that right now, since you can cruise at 100 kilometers per hour, the Meteor will take you the distance, because this one is a proper cruiser now. Both the motorcycles are still air cooled. You still don't get an oil cooler on the Meteor, although it does not have that requirement because it does not heat as much. You can feel some heat coming from the Thunderbird, and same is the case for the Meteor in stop-go traffic. But if you're out in the highway, well, it's easy breezy. Both the motorcycles still get a 5-speed gearbox. Thunderbird was one of the motorcycles to get a 5-speed gearbox back in the time, and now the clutch feel is a lot heavier over here as compared to that of the Meteor. The Meteor clutch is quite a lot light, and the heel toe shifter feels very nice to shift. Although the gearbox is a lot more crisper, but if the Meteor got slipper clutch as things are moving modern, things would have been even better. Now this is me pinpointing a bit, but the levers, if you can see in a little bit of detail, these are thicker and they give you a good feel. They give you a good grip on the fingers. That is a personal plus. There has been a major change in the dynamics department because the Meteor rides in a very different manner. The chassis is new, so it does not flex as much. The suspension setup is slightly better. The front suspension is soft, and the rear is hard. The rear suspension setup on both the motorcycles is very similar, but the front suspension feels a lot better. And because you don't get those ape handlebars, you don't get that light feeling, and the handlebar gives you a good feedback on the road. So if you're tipping into corners, well, you won't have any problems on the Meteor, while it is scary for that on the Thunderbird. The overall riding characteristics have been even improved because of the tires, because you get 19-inch front wheel in both the motorcycles, but you get a 17-inch wheel at the rear on the Meteor with a 140 section rubber. This gives a lot of area to corner, and as you have got C8 tires, they grip decently well. And overall riding stability and agility is much improved on the Meteor as compared to that of the Thunderbird. The ground clearance is slightly on the lower side, but it hasn't been a problem at all, because although the Meteor rides well, we have taken it on bad patches of road and it does not hit the bump. If you have a pillion and if you are riding the distance, you will definitely get a bounce back feedback similar to that of the Thunderbird, although the bounce back is a little less on the Meteor thanks to that adjustable rear suspension, and you can adjust it in 6 different levels. Now I have already talked about the lever feel, but the brakes are the very important part of this motorcycle, as you get dual channel ABS standard on the Meteor. Thunderbird used to get ABS, this one does not. But I can say one thing for sure, the braking feedback has improved so well that you get that confidence to go the distance, to go that speed. So if you are cruising at 100 kilometers per hour and if you just stand on the brakes, this motorcycle does not leave its line and the brakes work brilliantly well. Even if you're on bad patches of road or if you're riding on the dust, this motorcycle stops after a certain point because the ABS works well. Although you don't get switchable ABS just like the Himalayan, but you road require it because this motorcycle stops on your command. I have never been a fan of Royal Enfield because they vibrate too much and they look weird until the Himalayan and the 650 Twins. Same is the case here because the Thunderbird, I feel it's weird, but it's a different case for the Meteor. If you remember the title that Faisal had put when he first wrote the Interceptor, he said, "Am I a convert?" Well, that is what I'm gonna say today, because the 350 is the future of Royal Enfield, looks very bright with the Meteor because this engine has proven itself. It is so good, so smooth, and the power delivery is so much likable. It does not vibrate as the Royal Enfield used to, while you still get that thump. So if you're in the market to get yourself a 350 and you have the budget of 2 lakhs, well, take my word, get a Meteor and be happy with it. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, do hit the like button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Also, you can customize the Meteor, right? You get that app, you get the Royal Enfield app, and you can customize the way you want it. There are more than 5 lakh combinations. Well, you can have a Meteor of your choice the way you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Royal Enfields everywhere, freaking everywhere. That is how famous they are.